eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Thanks for being with us on the radio, CKLU 96.7 FM. On the internet at cklu.ca, streaming live each and every day. CKLU streams if you go to cklu.ca and you just click on the Radio Player Canada logo, you can stream us. Also, you can download the logo by clicking on it, download it, listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. That's not only this show, but any show from CKLU. So thanks for being with us today. We're also live streaming on Facebook, facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube at youtube.com/Sudbury News, and that's where you can watch us not only live, but it's there archived for time and eternity. So you can always go back and watch us if you miss the live streaming, which is a great feature that we have. Well, it's not we have it. It's just social media provides that opportunity through their platform. And we're grateful that they do that. But you can also catch us on our website at sudbury.news because it also is there. So I'm not sure how it works. I still haven't been able to go to it in real time. It's just one of those things, but you can go back and all of the shows are archived for the future, the past, the present, everything. The show, you can just catch it. You go to Sudbury.news, you go to the Sudbury News Talk, the link there, and you just click on it, and the shows are there. And we're doing our best to make that website as much as we can. Right now, it's an aggregator. It brings all of the news from local news, weather, sports, from all of our local outlets into one place so you can see all the news. But we're not here to compete with them as I don't know. You could look at it like that, but it's not like that one bit. It's actually there to promote. So you go to the page, you see their news story, and you click on it, it goes to their website. So it's basically an advertisement for all the local news. So we're not there to step on anyone's toes. If anything, we're there to make news a little more available and make their news more available. And this is another way to do it is to unpack the stories that they're writing about each and every day right here on Sudbury News Talk in the morning. And we've had different comments made about this particular show before that were negative, which I respect and I embrace because that's freedom of speech. That's something we definitely advocate for. That's what this show is all about. It's to be able to look at what's going on in the community and not feel that someone's got their arm around a story and only letting you know certain aspects of it. We want to open up those arms a little bit and say, hey, what do you got there? What's going on behind those the things you're kind of trying to keep in a certain, framework? Like what do you got going on there? So that's what this is all about. And we celebrate the fact that we can still do that. And that's a great thing, regardless of other actors that don't think that that's the way the playing field should be. It just makes sense, right? You can say something the way that you frame it, and that's great. And someone could hear it and go, yeah, that resonates. I really like that. And then someone else can have a different angle on it. And you can hear something else and you go, yeah, you know what? There's a little bit of that I really like too. But if you only have one source all the time, there's dangers from that. And so it's always good to have multiple sources, multiple points of view to investigate, and then you make up your own mind. So with that, comments are working today. Good morning, David. Thanks for being with us each and every day. Glad to have you on. Remember to always like, subscribe, share, follow our socials. It seems that it's not the easiest thing to do today. Many of you I noticed that are on commenting every day on my end. It doesn't show that you're actually following the page or you like it. It says that you've been invited, but you haven't accepted the invite to like the page or follow it. And that's on Facebook specifically I'm speaking about. So you might want to check that out and just see, because that really helps the page. And the more I'm saying it, one of these days I'm going to get, as soon as we have a lot of people on, I'll say, okay, who knows that they've liked the page or followed it? Just let me know. And then I'm just going to see who has, then I'm going to go check. And then if it says you're not following, basically you'll know something nefarious has been going on, which is what I suspect, because I go on members of my family's accounts who are supposedly like the page, follow it, and it doesn't show them as liking or following it, and it doesn't put them into the numbers. So obviously, whether it's on purpose or not, if it's an algorithm or something, it just means it translates at the end of the day. We don't have as many followers or likes. And again, people think that means reputable. If there's the more people that like or follow something, it means it's more reputable. And who you think that powers that be don't know that? And if they could make somebody seem less reputable, if you don't go along with what they kind of think or feel or say, then they have the powers to do that. So that's I've heard a lot of people in social media talking about that. Anyways, I digress. There's lots to talk about today in terms of local stuff. The Auditor General's report was out yesterday. That's going to take up a good chunk of our time today, unpacking that, talking about the main thing is looking to the future for Laurentian, the past, assessing it, and calling for more. What we talk about on this show all the time, transparency. And that should echo throughout other institutions in our city and politics as well, for the same type of recommendations that were made in the report we're going to be going through today, to also permeate through other aspects of our city. Anyways, let's get right into it. Starting with the weather, we should have Brian Poulet joining us after as well. We'll unpack things together and with you as you comment and join in the conversation. We'll be right back right after this. Some weather. Currently it is minus 12 out there, and it feels like minus 13. So really, there's only one degree difference in the wind chill aspect or whatever. So humidity is 89%, and today a mix of sun and cloud, a 60% chance of the F word late this afternoon, and that is flurries for anyone who follows the show. Knows that we've called it that before. The wind chill will feel like minus 15 this morning and minus 10 this afternoon. UV index will be 1 or low. Tonight, partly cloudy, 60% chance of flurries again this evening and after midnight. A few flurries beginning overnight. Risk of snow squalls overnight, local amount, up to about 2 to 4 centimeters. Wind will be moderate, 15 kilometers, temperature steady near minus 7, but the wind chill will feel like minus 13. Saturday, flurries, a risk of snow squalls, local amount 5 centimeters. So altogether, we could be looking at 7 to 9 centimeters of snow by the end of tomorrow. And the temperature steady near minus 4. But with the wind chill, it'll feel like minus 13. That's on Saturday. Again, minus 4, feel like minus 13. That's a few flurries. Sunday, again, high of minus 9, that is. Chance of flurries and the probability of precipitation, 30%. Monday, chance of flurries, high of 2. So it's getting a little warmer. Chance of precipitation is 30%, flurries, that is. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, so far, forecast mix of sun and cloud, both days, high of -4. And then they're calling for more chances of flurries by Thursday. That's your 7-day forecast. A bit of a look at the satellite on the radio. It is, again, mostly cloudy over northern Ontario with a few clearing spots depending on the time of day. So heavy cloudiness over northern Ontario, and that is the reason for the chance of flurries, not only for here, but for a lot of northern Ontario. Winter season is upon us, and that is your weather report brought to you by sudburyweather.ca, which it lands on sudbury.news. We'll be right back with a little bit of sports, and we'll break down a lot of the headlines, which there's quite a few, and a lot to unpack with the Auditor General's report after the sports. We'll be right back. All right, as we talked about before, the Sudbury Wolves are in action tonight at 7:05 at the Sudbury Arena against the Barrie Colts. There's going to be like 7 NHL prospects just on the Barrie Colts alone to know it's going to be a tough game, a hard fight. It'll be very entertaining. The new Jumbotron, the new sound system that's in there, it's really awesome. Atmosphere in the Sudbury Arena. If you haven't been so far, you should maybe make tonight a time to get out and watch a really great game. Or if you can't make it tonight, then there's Sunday, 2:05 against Kingston Frontenacs. So tonight's game, they say it's going to be hard to get tickets. So they are very limited tickets available for Friday's game because it's a Glencore family night, and the families of the employees of Glencore basically will be there, and that's really going to fill up the arena. So yeah, you may want to get your tickets earlier than later if you plan on going. If you're not able to make it, you can catch the game right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. The game should be called tonight by Brian and Thomas, as far as I know, and then as well on Sunday. Sometimes Brian's not able to make it. That Brian Cooper, that is, with calling the game. He is the morning person on Kicks, the country, or no, it's Pure Country now. So he's the morning guy there. He's currently on the air. We're on at the same time, but he calls the game great. So does Thomas when he fills in for Brian and when he does color commentary. They're very professional. They do a great job. So, and then David Bowen, son of the legendary Joe Bowen, who is from Coniston, got his start with Sudbury Wolves, went on, and now is the the Toronto Maple Leafs play-by-play announcer in Toronto. His son, David, who played for the Rayside Belfort Canadians, amazing goalie, also played some stellar hockey for the Sudbury Wolves. And it's unfortunate he didn't get the chance. Just timing and the way the universe works, sometimes he just didn't get in there. But anyways, David Bowen calls the away games now, and that looks like he's going to be in his father's footsteps with play-by-play for hockey. Other sports news: the Sudbury Cubs have acquired the NOJHL champion netminder Noah Metivier. The Sudbury Cubs has announced acquisition of Noah Metivier. The 18-year-old from Sault Ste. Marie claimed top honors as the best goaltender in the NOJHL last season with 1.88 goals against average and a .922 save percentage, including 6 shutout victories as a member of the NOJHL Sault Thunderbirds after competing in the CJHL National Championship Centennial Cup. Metivier a 6-foot tall, 190-pound goaltender was traded to Lindsay of Ontario Junior Hockey League. The OJHL franchise has struggled early this season, and Metivier sees his return to the NOJHL as his new team, the Sudbury Cubs, as an opportunity for a fresh start to a young season with a top-ranked young team. Yeah, and they are, and he has an opportunity to be a champion with this team. And it looks like with that acquisition, the Sudbury Cubs are going to be even stronger, and as they make their run for a championship this year, should be pretty exciting. And speaking of exciting, we'll be back right after this with headlines and the new Auditor General report out on Laurentian University will be the top story. Obviously, we'll unpack that with Brian right after this. Sudbury Sports brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy Pascal's everything's local sports website. He's that Sudbury Sports guy, and you can catch all of his latest updates in terms of local sports on his website, SudburySports.com. We'll be back with headlines. Brian Poulet right after this. All right. Well, good morning, Brian. How are you doing this morning? Oh, I think I got you unmuted here. Maybe you're muted on your end. I don't know. Do you got your volume on there?
Good morning. Good morning.
There you are. Yeah. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. How am I doing? I'm doing fine, thanks.
Great.
Yeah, a little cold in here this morning, but I got the space heater on. I'm wondering if you guys hear it. Probably not.
I don't.
No, good. So the noise canceling is working.
Good. Yes.
Right.
And I noticed
Awesome.
before your volume was on, you were showing your shirt, the Sudbury Wolves, basically, and they're in action tonight and Sunday, as we talked about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. You know, they're a fun team to watch. They're a young team, very fast games, and they've been winning as of late. They're on a 2-game win streak, so probably good to get out and see them while they're hot. New coach coming in, Derek McKenzie. He's a former captain of the Wolves and NHLer, and was assistant coach, I believe, in the NHL. Now he's coming to coach the Sudbury Wolves, coming back to his hometown. So, anyways,
Wonderful.
Where he played OHL hockey. So headlines today, Brian. There's many to go through, and there's the main one we already mentioned.
Sorry if I'm messing with my camera here. It just doesn't seem to be.
I don't think that's a problem.
It'll have to do.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem whatsoever. Top story today, Brian. Top story
is
Laurentian University.
Oh,
Auditor General came out with the report, the full report. They did a preliminary report back in April, but this is the full report. And I'm just going to go through the headlines that we've shared on Sudbury News's Facebook page. I'm going to make sure to get people's comments here, just to make sure as they come in that we can share them. The two biggest unions representing workers at Laurentian University say the Auditor General's report shows the need for transparency. Sudbury unions react to the auditor's report on LU. We'll have that. There's a really good story that CTV News did on that in the video. We're going to play that as soon as we're done going through the headlines. We'll start with that as our top story because I felt they did a really good job. A lot of times I notice spin in news stories. I don't know if you noticed the same, but they didn't. They just gave the facts and they interviewed a few people and that was it. And I appreciated that. So, Ontario.
I wish I was more up to date on the Laurentian story. So I think you'll be taking the lead most of it here this morning, unless
that's fine.
Of course, I hear something.
It's okay. You'll hear things. There's some main points. Sudbury.com did a good job too on just taking the bullet points out of the Auditor General's report and looking at some of those things. So we're going to really unpack all this. Don't worry. If you don't know much now, hopefully yourself and any of the viewers or listeners, by the time we're done today's show, will feel a little more informed, hopefully, as to what happened, why it happened, where we are now, and what we can look forward to in the future with Laurentian University. So here's Sudbury.com says Ontario auditor stands fast. Laurentian could have avoided CCAA. So they could have avoided going through bankruptcy. Bonnie Lysick releases report on how Laurentian ended up declaring insolvency. So that's one other. I'm just kind of reading the headlines. They're all LU related. Laurentian says it embraces findings of the Ontario's Auditor General. It's now incumbent on us to learn from her advice, said LU Board Chair Jeff Bangs. Now this is a total different angle than we've had from Robert Hache before, saying, "Oh no, the Auditor General's report, it's false." All these things he was saying, he denied things at the beginning. He's just resigned or just retired. Sorry, he just retired from Laurentian University instead of resigning, right? Which he could have done to kind of show accountability. We'll get into that, but he retired, took early retirement, or maybe he was planning on retiring at that time, for all we know, but
Possibly.
likely not. But he retired.
But
at the beginning he was saying no, the report false. But here you got the new chair basically saying, okay, all right, we're not going to play games here. You've made some really good suggestions, and we're going to roll with it. Thank you very much. So totally different. Where Laurentian seems to be coming from. They're not fighting back. They seem to be kind of accepting it now. This is an interesting headline, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get through it or get to it today, but it would be nice. CBC bonuses and raises total $156 million.
Read that one.
Yeah, since 2015, says the Canadian Taxpayer Federation. So that's interesting. I'd like to really unpack that one.
Certainly.
It talks about in that article, if we don't get to it, that only one employee out of CBC had a payroll deduction, had a pay reduction. One employee, and it talks about through the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people had pay cuts and things like this, but not at the CBC. They got nice raises and everyone kept their jobs. And if anything, they hired more people and cost the taxpayers over $1 billion, but hopefully we can look into that. So anyways, this story is something we're going to get used to more and more coming up, because we are one of the biggest mining cities in the world, and underneath our feet have a lot of the materials that they're going to need for the new electric, initiatives to go electric with our cars and get rid of fossil fuels. And they have that conference, the COP conference, going on right now. I believe it's in Egypt, but they're talking about climate change and some of the, how far are we going to go? How fast? Who's making the commitments? But here you have Vale Canada to supply GM with nickel for electric vehicles starting in 2026.
Interesting article, because I believe I read last week that Elon Musk was canvassing Sudbury as a possibility for making his batteries for his vehicles.
Yep.
And good choice. I mean, I suppose I don't know the economics behind it, but we definitely do nickel here, and we're good at that sort of stuff.
We do nickel here for sure. We do nickel and other
the big nickel,
other minerals and metals and things like that. So good morning, Jerome. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
Yeah. So as you know, this is it's like you said, Elon Musk is checking it out. Here you have GM making a deal. Under the deal, Vale will provide GM with battery grade nickel sulfate. And that's a key ingredient for the batteries needed for electric vehicles. One of the comments here was something about must have been in the Sudbury Star article that I read it about we should actually make other plants closer to Sudbury as well, so that way we're not just taking the ore and shipping it somewhere to be processed or whatever. If we're going to do enough business with these companies like Tesla and GM and whatever, why couldn't we bring some manufacturing to the Sudbury area, take it out of the ground and just drive it down the street and do something with it, and then help the economy more grow here and make it, it would help with supply chain issues, transportation. It would just help everybody. And we could bring workers here. I know Paula Five, the new council, was just sworn in last night along with our new mayor.
Yes.
That's a headline. And
congratulations.
According to his speech, he was saying that we're looking at increasing the population here to at least 200,000 people. Now, I'm sure a lot of that they're looking at immigration. But that's not even all that needed. If you just have industry here and you have jobs available, you don't just need immigration in order to increase the population. You can actually bring people, well-trained people, professionals in their fields to these jobs if they're created. And it looks like we have a base here to make a case for a lot of industry to do with this. Whether you agree with the way the world's going and getting rid of fossil fuels as fast as we are, whether you agree with any of that, Sudbury's economy is going to benefit in many ways from that. And I've said that from the beginning. So Penny Sutcliffe from the
Public health.
The public health of Sudbury, Manitoulin, says Sudbury's medical officer of health is recommending people return to wearing a mask. And so, yeah, I guess if we got time, we can talk about that as well. There's a huge push, right, for the mandate aspect rather than just heavily encouraging people to do that. So back.
It starts that way, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of did this at the beginning as well until it became like you must.
Yeah, I remember Justin Trudeau saying, "Just don't speak moistly. Try not to."
Right. I remember. Yeah.
Try not to speak moistly was his suggestion, which I don't exactly know what that means, but we're still trying to. He wasn't available for comment for some reason on that when we reached out to him and his team. But Dominic Giroux, who's also not available for comment, the auditor paints damning picture of Giroux's time at Laurentian as president. While many factors led to insolvency at Laurentian, actions during the tenure of Dominic Giroux were outlined in the report. He wasn't named, which is weird. He wasn't named, just said former president or during the time of, 2009 to 2017, these things were happening. Well, that means he was the president during that time, right? So obviously he would have to face some accountability or at least answer to something, or at least he was found responsible in the report for that. So again, we're going to get to that report. I don't want to go too much into it. One of the comments here, there's 6 of them. Just with that, I'd like to get to them. There says 6 comments, but only 5 are here. I love the way Facebook works. We all knew that he was the lead, eh? The rest just followed suit. No surprise here. I'm more interested in what kind of research was supposed to happen. So one of the things the report says, they used a lot of money that they got for research. A lot of universities, they are research heavy because that's what they do in universities. The professors do research. Anyways, they're using a lot of their funding for capital projects, which was one of the findings from Lysick in her report. So, and then Giroux said he wasn't available for comment, or at least his people said that he wasn't available because he was away on hospital business. So he wasn't able to comment. Not that he didn't know the report was coming out or anything, that it was announced, and he knew that he would probably have something to do with it, or there would be reporters wanting to ask him questions. You'd think he'd have a long time to have canned answered, already ready to go from the PR team, but they chose to just say he's not available right now. He's away on hospital business. So I guess they don't have telephones where he is. He must be in some remote area for hospital business where there's no communications able to speak through technology or able to respond in any way, shape, or form. And this particular person who commented says, that's probably an executive move to consult his legal team before he makes any comments, right? He'll have to walk very carefully. Seven Sudbury women recognized. They had a distinction ceremony, award ceremony for women in the community, and 7 were honored there. Full story is on Northern Ontario CTV. Also, we shared the story on our Facebook page. You can click on that and read more about it. It's been in the news if you've been listening to CBC or whatever. There's a lot covered on that, so you can easily get into that. We shared a video at the end of, was it yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, yesterday.
Justin Trudeau's exchange with Xi Jinping, the leader of China, and we heard that. And then later, China came out after exchange. China calls Canada's manner condescending. A Chinese spokesperson on Thursday accused Canada of acting in a condescending manner, which is interesting. So it is what it is.
I want to comment more, but I'm afraid I might be stepping into some community guidelines stuff. So I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Yeah, I have no problem with that. I got to watch myself a little bit more a lot of times too.
I'll get a little bit more brave as I get better at this, but
for sure.
Interesting articles.
I know Jerome doesn't mind making comments about things, and he was saying, I think it was Penny Sutcliffe saying, I wonder how much bonus she'll be paid to perpetuate that message. Well, he used that lie, but I'll do my own moderating and say that message of, standing fast and hard. Now, for those who don't know, she made in excess last year of salary. Did you remember how much she made last year, Brian?
No.
Do you want to take a guess? It's a lot, so I'll give you a little bit of a, a bit of a tip. It's a lot. So she's the director of Sudbury's Public Health. What do you think she would have been paid in 1 year's salary?
I can go just a little over $100,000.
8 times that.
8 times that?
Yeah.
8 times?
Yeah, 800,000.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah.
Over that.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know if they wanted that to get public, but I guess all that is public knowledge, right? Because you have to disclose, what public officials are making. And somehow it just happened to be during all of the pandemic and whatever, while people were taking pay cuts, losing their jobs, getting fired because they weren't going along with things, everything's disrupted. Somehow she ended up making over $800,000 in 1 year. And there's still no real reason for that. It's like gas prices. Why are gas prices more in Sudbury? It goes in that category, right? Why did Penny Sutcliffe make over $800,000? We don't know.
She must be special, I guess. Maybe
that's
special.
true. That's true. Yes.
Special doctor. Special.
You are true. Now you're special too, Brian. You don't make $800,000, but you are special.
Oh, aren't we all though? Yeah.
And Jerome says hospital business is our business. It belongs to us. The community is their employers. Yes, that's true. A lot of public services don't believe that they're accountable and they just don't act. They don't act accountable like they should be to us. We pay their salary, right? And so they just don't. But Miles says she worked overtime. Exactly. Many people did, but I don't think many people made $800,000 during the pandemic. That's a lot of beds or nurses. That is true. Yes. Money spent probably better somewhere else.
I would agree with that.
And then back to the China
Nice.
story. Jerome says,
Oh,
get used to
lovely.
it, China. We got to get
Indeed.
used to it in Canada. So our prime minister, the way he speaks to us. So, Xi Jinping will have to get used to the way he speaks to people. Speaking of gas prices, when does Costco
The
gas
Costco
station
gas
open?
station opens.
Apparently, I heard through sources that were around there yesterday that it's open. But hey, I don't want to start a
Okay.
rumor. Costco
So I
gas
went. I
is
did.
open.
I did a drive by yesterday.
Yeah.
And all I could see was a coming soon sign.
Oh,
There's
okay.
no, I didn't see any evidence because I was looking for that sort
Yeah.
of evidence.
Oh,
A
as a
sign
lot
that
of
might
people are.
tip me off as to when,
Mm-hmm.
when are you guys going to be opening? So,
For sure.
and then I read a Facebook comment yesterday. Somebody was asking the same question, when's it going to be open? The typical response was coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone had chimed in with that they had posted in the store
A date?
a date.
Oh.
And apparently that turned out to be
Wrong.
possibly not true, or maybe
Or they didn't meet the target.
information misconstrued or something
Yeah.
like this. But
Well, as I heard from yesterday, a friend of mine came to my place and said it was open. So I didn't question any more than that. I just said, oh, really? Okay. So now that you're saying you drove by and it still said coming soon, we're not sure. So we can find that out, I'm sure. Gas prices are hovering around 162 as far as I know. I can check them right now, right here in real time on my computer with the thing called the internet, which reaches out on a website called Gas Buddy. The cheapest gas in town is 161.3. That's at Pioneer on the Kingsway. A lot of times they are the cheapest. Esso is not far behind, 161.6. And then you again, it's hovering around 162 most places in the city. So if you want really cheap gas by about a cent
Rochelle
cheaper,
trying to get an extra 0.3 in there.
yeah. So we're hoping, right? I think a lot of us are hoping that Costco factor will keep gas prices down
I'm very curious to see
in the city.
what sort of benefit there's going to be. I mean, I've heard people say that it pretty much pays for your annual membership. The savings.
The savings on gas.
Sort of,
exactly.
Somebody had suggested that,
Yeah.
anyways. But
Yeah.
I'm anxious to.
I'm just hoping it keeps gas prices down in the city and they try and compete because really we're 10 cents above the average usually, and there's no reason for it. There's
We are, right?
no
Okay.
explanation for it. It's not the transportation, because how do you get Sturgeon Falls being 10 cents cheaper than us or other places that are it's not the transportation cost. I don't care what anyone says, and it's not 10 cents worth per liter more in transportation costs either. Anyways, let's get right into our top story. This is CTV. Tony Rima was one of my favorite teachers at Cambrian College when I was there a couple of years ago.
Cool.
And his reporting on the whole Laurentian Auditor General report. We'll just listen in on here.
Have a listen.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Brendan is away as Laurentian University prepares to emerge from insolvency. Ontario's Auditor General reports today on what led to the school seeking creditor protection. And as CTV's Molly Fromer tells us, the auditor says the move by the school caused damage to students, faculty, and Laurentian's reputation.
It's been a long and challenging road to complete this report.
Auditor General Bonnie Lysyk reviewed the school's operations between 2010 and 2020, and her lengthy and thorough report points the finger of blame at the main cause of the school's financial woes.
The primary cause of the university's decline was its pursuit of capital projects that led to the assumption of more than $87 million in debt. When Laurentian began to run out of cash to pay for its capital projects, it inappropriately started to draw on funds that were restricted for use in research projects and for retirement health plans for faculty and staff.
The auditor adds the consequence of Laurentian's actions impacted students, faculty, and staff.
While the CCA path helped Laurentian clear many of its debts, it also led to more than $30 million and counting in fees for private sector financial advisors and lawyers. We suspect that many would believe that this money would have been better spent educating students. There were 341 jobs lost, program cuts affecting 932 students. The longstanding relationship with the federated universities was severed, and millions of dollars were wasted.
Multiple recommendations were brought forward in the report. Chair of the board at Laurentian University, Jeff Banks, said in a statement, "It is now incumbent on us to learn from her advice and, most importantly, accept and implement each of her recommendations." Banks goes on to say with this report and the advice the university has received, the school can now move forward and not repeat the same mistakes in the future. One local politician here in the north says she has mixed emotions after the report was released.
The auditor goes through every single bad decision that has been made and who are the people who made those bad decisions. And it's just like, oh my God, that's hard to swallow. But I fully know that we cannot change the past.
Our special report
I just want to jump in there before we go, because I might miss that. Did you hear what Jelena just said there? That I just want to rewind that.
Yeah,
Oh my
because
goodness.
I think it cut out for me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just rewind this. Angel, Jelena here. Just listen to her comments on what about the report.
After the report was released,
the auditor goes through every single bad decision that has been made and who are the people who made those bad decisions. And it's just like, oh my God, that's hard to swallow. But I fully know that we cannot change the past.
So what do you hear what she's saying there?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I'm still having some trouble.
Okay. Well, anyway, she goes, it was hard to hear the report because she was going through all of the people making the bad decisions and what the decisions they made.
Oh.
Like, that's what we wanted. That's what the report's for. We don't want politics and sweeping under the rug. And that was her criticism of the report.
Louise.
It mentioned people and what they did. Like, she's been a politician for a long time, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not supposed to do things like that. You're not supposed to say who did the wrong thing or who. You can't do that. My goodness.
Oh.
I just thought, oh yeah, that just exposes a little bit of where she's coming from or whatever. Yeah, like this is what people want. You're kind of losing touch. People want who did it, why did they do it, what did they do,
what, where, and where.
When did they do it? Why did this happen? And it's just less like, why couldn't you just give a kinder, gentler report? Don't mention anybody. Don't mention what they did. Anyways, okay, let's just see the end of this. We'll be done. Okay.
Our special report today will assist Laurentian in its efforts to renew itself so that it can continue to attract students and professors, generate world-class research, and serve as an academic, scientific, and cultural focal point for Greater Sudbury.
That is a hope that many in the community share. Molly Romer, CTV News, Sudbury.
And the school's two biggest unions say they're not surprised by the Auditor General's findings. They're demanding the new senior leadership prioritize making its governance structures more transparent and democratic.
Many years of bad governance and decisions that were made behind closed door, created that financial crisis that devastated Laurentian and the lives of so many who worked and studied at Laurentian University.
Two very big parts of the report are alarming. We didn't need to go into CCAA. That's clear from the report. And quite frankly, the leadership in specific times of Dominic Giroux, Carol McCauley, Lorella Hayes, like these people and what they've done, we now know how deeply disturbing they ran our finances.
Fensky says there needs to now be a move for accountability. The staff union is looking at taking civil action against what it says are the officials responsible.
So there you have it. That
Mm-hmm.
was the story. I thought they did a really good job covering that story. I did that again. I did that yesterday to you, Brian. Just trying to.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, they did it to us actually. We got the screen here, so there we go. All good now.
Yeah.
So there's a few things here. The report, if you want to just break it down, we've been looking at the initial report, Zach and myself, for a while now. So we'll just, if you want, I'm just going to take a second and show you the original episode here that we did, talking about the original report that came out, and then we'll be right back after that to kind of just tie things up. But this is Zach and I talking about the preliminary report when it first came out back in April of this year. So we'll just check this out.
And to start off the day, our headline today is to follow up on our big headline that was yesterday, and that is Laurentian Faculty Union President says auditor's report is a confirmation of everything we said.
Mm-hmm.
So we covered yesterday, not in depth, but we covered kind of a preliminary overview of the preliminary report. So it's a 13-page report released by the Auditor General. Her name is Lissick, I think we decided.
Yeah, Lissick.
It's pronounced Lissick. And the union president today, I went ahead and read that report yesterday, highlighted all the important parts, planned on doing a full segment on the show today, and I forgot it back at home.
You're too honest, Zach.
13 pages is just too much for me to skim through and do a report on without highlighting the important things. So stay tuned for that.
So Monday, Zach is going to do a comprehensive kind of overview on the whole Laurentian insolvency issue.
Everything you need to know up to this point.
He's read the Auditor General's report. He's highlighted all of the main points, and he just wants to keep us kind of waiting for it. So I don't think he really forgot. I think you just want people,
we're just keep
coming edge. Back to hear what you got to say about
I'm not that clever, but I mean, the way we've designed this show is we just try and make it the best show every time.
Yeah.
We've never been like, tune in tomorrow to find out the name of the, like, we're
not
just,
going to sensationalize things that for no reason, just to get viewers. We just want to deliver what's going on, keep everyone in the know, and have a really, positive experience while we're doing it, and hopefully be relatable and just work together for a community conversation. That's what this is, community conversation. Speaking of that, join us on Facebook Live, and you can be part of the conversation by commenting on the video in the comments section, and we'll hopefully, I have it up here in front of me. At first we didn't, but anyways, all right.
It's
So that's that, and that was just us basically talking about it when it first came out. Zach actually read the report. We went through it, but I wanted to get to some of the comments here because I know that's why we have comments. Miles was saying it's collusion for the gas prices, which I do agree with. We're a mining town. All prices are exaggerated. Okay, that's good. That's in terms of gas prices, right? Bad governance. Why had all the other universities, bad governance? Why hadn't all the other universities, the province gone through insolvency then? Yeah, because the governance in terms of Laurentian governance, right? And we are the only one that went through insolvency. Now, Natalie wanted to just kind of give a different take on Franz Jelena's response. I was saying it's more like, oh, you shouldn't, it's bad that we release these names. But Natalie's basically saying she wasn't doing that. She was basically saying, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe all of the bad things coming out in the names and why they did things the way they did. And so I guess we'd have to get it from Franz Jelena, to know exactly what she meant, but I appreciate that. She's flabbergasted at the reasoning of those decisions and how that contributed directly, caused the domino effect, what happened at LU over time. I don't feel she's against the audit or the process. No, for sure. No, because the unions are definitely against, what happened, because there's many reasons to be against it. As a union, a lot of your employees were fired without proper due process, let go, and whatever. And that's definitely what unions try and protect people to do. Jerome saying opportunistic fence-sitting politician that's done nothing for the health of our community. Okay, and this is the good thing of different people's perspectives on stuff. Does the report worry anyone regarding HSN? That is a question, right? So Dominic Giroux, this is the first time out of all of this that I've even heard his name mentioned in the media. And I thought his name wasn't going to be mentioned after all this time. But to my surprise, I saw Sudbury.com having the story on him, basically, and they reached out, but he wasn't available because he was on hospital business. Oh, and that was in CTV. Sorry, CTV reached out to him. Auditor paints damning picture of Giroux's time as Laurentian's president. Now, that's the first time I heard him being brought into the mix. Marcus Schwabe of CBC Radio interviewed him the other day, never mentioned a thing about it. And I was critical of Marcus on that, for that regard, that he didn't mention it. You should at least mention something. Say, are you concerned about the report coming out? Something, even be nice to him about it, not a mention of anything. So this is what people want to see. They want to see what really happens. They want to see people who make bad decisions be accountable for them, because you know why? That is something we live with every single day. And there shouldn't be different standards for people just because they work somewhere, they make a certain amount of money, they have a certain standing in the community. But we do see this. It's not a secret that there is a different standard. People do get away with things. Money talks, so they're able to pay for things that other people can't, and they're held to a different level of accountability than others. But that's what the average person wants to see. They want to see transparency and accountability. That is what this society should be moving more towards if they want one that includes what the average person wants. It's a society made up of people, right? Not an elite class of people that make their own rules, operate by their own rules. And so, yeah, that's what people want to see from what
transparency, for sure.
Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I have no idea.
No, same
wrong.
here. Everybody I know, same thing. Transparency.
So Miles says Franz Yelena originally criticized the province.
Which is bunk.
Yeah. So I guess as a union and as the opposition, you're going to do that because you're you're in a political arena. So you can't agree with what the opposition party is doing. You have to always go against it, is the rule when you're in politics, right? You always have to be, and she's the health critic. So in terms of health, that's what she does. But yeah, do you, So anyways, so that's what the Auditor General report gave recommendations as well. We can unpack this a little bit more on Monday. There's going to be more out on it. If you just go on our Facebook page, we shared the precise stories that can really break it down for you. Sudbury.com did a really good point of just showing the main points of it in their story.
Sort of like the cliff notes of the story.
Yeah, they gave like the main bullet points of the Auditor General's report. There's lots to unpack here, but here they go. So since at least 2007, Laurentian had been using restricted funds on capital projects. So that's one of the main things. So they're using money that wasn't earmarked for capital projects capital projects. So that's a no-no.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
Definitely.
In 2010, Laurentian weakened its capital debt policy, allowing it to take on more debt. So that's another reason why they went down that road. By 2012-13, Laurentian no longer had sufficient cash and investments on hand to cover its deferred contributions, primarily research grants. 2013, the board approved a proposal by senior administration to delay the elimination of Laurentian's accumulated deficit, then rewarded the executive who came up with the plan. 2016, when its main lender refused to issue more debt, Laurentian obtained a line of credit that it became dependent on for the sustaining of its cash flow. So these are just, and then they spent more than $30 million on consultants to help them, understand how to go through bankruptcy and stuff, instead of just going to the ministry like other universities do and going through it the right way. They actually planned, and insolvency was their goal. They know they were going to go headlong into bankruptcy, and they did it. And they also claimed that their faculty cost too much money was one of the reasons for it. And Lysak's report showed that that wasn't the case. Their faculty was basically on par with other universities' costs, but they were heavily top heavy with administrative costs. So, the president of this, the anyone who's in administrative, the assistant to the president's assistant, all these, they were top heavy. So that's one of the things, and I saw that when I was there. And the reason why I'm a little bit emotionally charged is because it's a black mark on any of the students that have gone to Laurentian from here on in. It's a black eye. So you have a degree from Laurentian University. It's widely known that it's the only university of that caliber in Canada that's gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
So what does that say about the university, the institution that your name is now associated with for the rest of your life with your degree? They go, oh, that's that university, the one that went bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
That's the one you got your degree from?
I sort of feel that way myself. I'm not a student, but I was in the process of going for my CPA, and part of that is taking a couple of years at Cambrian and then using those credits to take that to Laurentian so I can get a degree in business. And it kind of discourages me from choosing that university now.
And so many others. And that's what Lysak was saying. And you can tell she was coming from a sincere place here. And she said, we really do want Laurentian to make a good comeback, be the kind of university that we know it can be, and work together to do that into the future. And I thought that report was music to my ears. It was everything that I would have wanted in a report. And we'll break it down more on Monday. But right now we're out of time, Brian. Do you see how fast the time goes on this show?
Really? I know
we're totally out of time. We're actually behind time.
Are we totally out of time? Really?
Yeah.
I thought maybe.
It's crazy. So you're welcome back anytime, Brian. All you have to do is text me, and let's come back. I want to talk about FTX the next time we talk, and the big
that's great.
Cryptocurrency and what that means to each and every one of us. That'll be a deep dive for a later show. But thanks for being on today, Brian. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Really.
And thanks everyone for commenting, and thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, following, all that stuff. Make sure to continue to do that. We really appreciate your comments. Thanks for being a part of the show and making it all that it can and should be. And we'll stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU, and we'll be back same time, same place, Monday. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.